Hi, kindergartens. I hope that you're having a good day. We are going to read 2 more pages and open up 2 more Easter eggs up on Benjamin's box. And yesterday, we read about the cup and how they were having their Passover dinner. And we opened up our Easter egg that had the cup inside, which Benjamin and his family would have drank Holy Communion out of. That is what your moms and dads and Miss Malish would drink out of when we go to Mass, and you eventually will be drinking Holy Communion out of the cups at Mass as well. And it's Jesus' blood, and we also take his body, which are those little bread circles. We also read the page about the praying hands, and the praying hands were when Jesus got taken away by the soldiers, and Benjamin started praying that those people wouldn't hurt Jesus. He was really worried. Today we are going to start with the leather strip. Benjamin, did you hear the news? Asked Eli the next morning. They've locked Jesus up, and everyone says that Judas got a bunch of money to betray him. Benjamin gasped. He had told Judas about the bribe. Maybe this was his fault. My friends, Judas was a friend of Jesus's. Judas was actually one of Jesus's disciples. So that means that he was a person that was a part of Jesus's group that went with Jesus to spread the word of Jesus. We are going to review, and we picked the coins out of our pink Easter egg a few days ago, and those were the coins that were given to Benjamin when Benjamin went to Judas and warned Judas about the people that were trying to betray him. Benjamin gasped. He had told Judas about the bribe. Maybe this was his fault. He said goodbye to Eli and wandered through the city. What could he do? Was there any way to help? Sounds of shouting made him stop, and he turned to see an angry crowd. Jesus deserved that beating, snarled an old man. The claims that he made to be God's son. He shouted. Be stoned, yelled another. What's going on? Asked Benjamin. Did they hurt Jesus? What do you know about Jesus? Demanded the old man. They all turned and stared at Benjamin with angry eyes. No, nothing, he stammered. His gaze dropped to the ground where he noticed a small strip of leather. He picked it up. It was from the whips used by the soldiers. It was wet with blood. He tucked it in his tunic and slipped away. Why would anybody beat Jesus? My friends, I want you to talk to your parents and tell them how this page made you feel. It didn't make Miss Malish feel very good, and it makes me sad that they are hurting Jesus. This is what we are pulling out of our green Easter egg today. This looks like the whip that they may have used to hurt Jesus with. Our next page is called the Thorn. Benjamin continued to walk. If only he could make them release Jesus. But what could a small boy do? He heard loud cries as another crowd gathered at the end of the street. Hail, King of the Jews! Yelled a soldier as Benjamin pushed his way past men and women. And there stood Jesus. Benjamin looked into the eyes as Roman soldiers threw a shabby robe over his beaten back. He expected to see hatred, but instead only saw love. Just then, a soldier shoved a crown of thorns onto Jesus' head, and another struck him with a stick. Benjamin's eyes filled with tears. Why were they doing this? A few days ago, everyone had called Jesus a king when he entered Jerusalem. Now it seemed that they all hated him. Benjamin squatted down and buried his head in his hands. Please, God, He prayed over and over, "Please make them stop." When he finally opened his eyes, the crowd had moved along. Jesus was gone. He walked over to where they had scorned his friend and picked up a sharp thorn broken from the awful crown. He ran home, and his parents paused to hear the story, then sadly shook their heads and returned to their work. Benjamin placed the thorn and leather strip in his box and cried. My friends, I want you to look at the picture one more time. If you see, there is a thorn crown on top of Jesus' head in this picture. Let's open up our next Easter egg. Our next Easter egg is orange, and it looks like a crown of thorns. So if we look closely, we can see that there's all these tiny little thorns all over the crown. And that must have been the crown of thorns that they had placed on Jesus' head. My friends, you might be wondering, why are they doing this to Jesus right now? Well, in Jerusalem, there was a very, very powerful king way back in Jesus' day. And that king did not want anybody to love Jesus the way that he wanted to be loved. The king really wanted to be the only person that the people in Jerusalem loved. And when everybody started hearing Jesus speak and talk about things that are in the Bible now, people really started to love Jesus. And that king did not like that. So that is why the soldiers are doing this right now. And they're not being very kind to him. Tomorrow, we are going to be reading 2 more parts. And these parts of the book are very important. I will see you tomorrow for 2 more parts and 2 more Easter egg openings. Bye, Kinders. Have a good day.